How are we doing, guys? So we're going to be looking at the Titan 440i and how to change the prime valve. We'll talk through some reasons why the prime valve's going to go or how to notice when it's on its way out. There's generally a few things to look out for when your prime valve's going, and we'll cover those in a minute. So let's jump in. So just show you a close-up of this valve. It just doesn't feel like it engages fully. It just feels like it's a bit sloppy. You can feel it, it's not quite grabbing. So it's got a nice click in one way, but into prime, it's not got that full click. There we go, click, click. That's what it should be like. So I've bought a new prime valve and we're going to replace it, but I'll also show you what this one's doing and why I can tell it's on its way out. So I've got some water in a bucket, we've popped the suction pipe in and the return hose, we're going to flick it on, I'm going to show you what the dial's doing. So we're in prime, which is down, off on the dial, turn it on, I'm going to put it in clean. And if you can hear this noise, when it just turns off it sounds like it hisses. The two main ones to look out for are the hissing noise. As soon as it stops turning over, you'll hear it just go tss. Or if you've got a dial on there, and generally you see it with the gauges, it'll actually start jumping and your hose starts rattling while it's in prime. That's not really what it should be doing. It's because it's not fully shut off and it's trying to creep into spray. Another way to tell if the prime valve's going is when it's starting to leak out of the return hose. Build your pressure up so that you've got it in spray mode with the water in, and then just lift the return hose out and see if it's creeping out there, because if it is, it means it's not shut off on your prime valve. And an obvious one is that sometimes when a prime valve goes and it primes fine, but when you flick it into spray and you're trying to build it up pressure, it's about to build up and then it just blows itself back through into the prime. It's because it's not able to lock in and keep it in spray mode. So that's another sign that your valve's gone. So we'll have a look and we'll change this one over, and I'm 99% sure we're going to be having a problem solved. So prime valve that I've got, and they're the ones that are a replacement part for. So in there we get the plastic casing, the valve itself, a pin and a metal washer, so that whole area comes out. Pressure down, flick it off, in prime to get rid of any pressure that's in there. If you want to be double safe, just unplug it, pull your trigger, and we've got no pressure in the system. A couple of little things that you need are something pointy and thin that's going to be able to just pop the pin out, and the pin is in there. So I'll just show you a close-up of this valve. It's a bit sloppy. You can feel it, it's not quite grabbing. So it's got a nice click in one way, but into prime, it's not got that full click. So we'll knock that pin through. I'm going to line it up on the pin. And there we go, the pins come out the bottom. So sometimes you just need some pliers. Ooh, shit the bed. Ooh. So there we go, that's a pin. Now the plastic cap literally comes off and it shows the valve. I'm just going to use my adjustable. There's my new one. There's my old one. Sometimes they don't look like they've gone, but internally they have. There's a little pin in there which shuts off, and if it's not seating properly, it's just not going to perform. So you can actually take the back nut off to strip it down, and that area comes out. So you can see in there there's a little pin which would pop out, a bit like on a gun. You could clean it, but even sometimes if they look fine, they've just failed. So again, for the time taken, sometimes it's just better to just buy new, and then you're not fannying around. You can see that there is a copper washer you get a new one in the pack. Comes out. New one back in. Valve in. Plastic cap. Again, there's a little pin which will slot into its own hole, so it can only go in one side. Show you on this one, the pin is actually bigger on this end than it is this end. So I pop that end in first and this end gets tapped back. So what should have been a couple of a minute job, this pin just seems like it's just so slightly too thick to go in the bloody hole. So we will persist. So what I've done is I've put my little poker in and I've flipped the valve around so it's facing up now instead of sideways. It's a bit easier for me to tap it in. So again, lock on. There we go. There we go. Click, click. That's what it should be like. Literally, you can hear that, or you can feel it as a lot firmer. So we'll switch it back on and we'll try it and we'll see if we can see the gauge move when it's in prime. Hopefully we shouldn't. And again, shouldn't hear the hiss or shouldn't see anything coming out of the return hose. So on. There we go. No hiss. We've got no jumping at the gauge. We'll put it into spray. We've got nothing coming out. As well, sometimes with the prime valves, they might not have gone, but they might not be locking in properly. So what I mean by that is if we've got it in spray, but it just doesn't feel like it's building, it might literally just, because there's still a little bit of play like that. And in this new one, there is no mechanical play, it's just in the plastic. But sometimes just that ever so slightly just lifting it will then just put it into full spray or full prime mode. So sometimes when they're on their way out, they can be quite sensitive. And again, time to change. Similar process with all the other airless ones, dead easy, minimal tools, and we're up and running. So nice one guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share the video if it's going to be helpful to anybody, and I'll catch you in the next one.
How you afraid to drop a dime when you already dropped a dime? Got a wife at home but you steady on my line. Talking about shorty, you remember when I grind slow? Did I really blow your mind though? Nah, you got me confused with your other booze. I've been peep game so I never gave a cookie up. And that's why I got your wife on the line, man. And I hope she gets every single dime.